Michael Plummer joins us from Bologna in Italy. Michael is a professor of international economics at Johns Hopkins University. Michael, thank you so much for your time. What do you think is going on with Donald Trump and what he really feels about China? Does he only understand trade and sanctions, or is he deliberately equivocating about what's going on with the Uyghur Muslims on the mainland and with the Hong Kong protesters?
I think that the president is focused on the economic aspect of the relationship. And I think he sees a lot of these issues in terms of in that vein. And so I do not believe he really, as you mentioned, was happy to sign that bill, but he had no choice. And I think that human rights isn't really at the front of his set of priorities. So I think that he really would like to downplay this. And this is why you're seeing his compliments on President Xi, et cetera. He does not want this to interfere with the delicate negotiations he currently has on trade. So I don't think you're going to see much in the way of of sanctions due to the Uyghurs.
What sort of countermeasures do you think Beijing might take, having threatened to do so after the bills being passed into law about Hong Kong's protest movement? Do you expect actually any sort of concrete action from Beijing, or will they just take it out during the negotiations that are happening over the trade war between the countries?
I think the latter is probably more likely. They have threatened these sanctions, but having observed the Chinese in these situations in the past, I don't think that they will want to have this get in the way of this relationship that they're forging with the United States in this moment. So I think they feel compelled to react very negatively and vocally against what the United States has done. But I think that once things calm down, that if they have any sanctions, I'd be surprised. But I think the rhetoric will tune down, and that it'll get back into negotiations. And I think that's the outcome that the President Trump would like to see as well.
It'll be interesting to see if actually these bills may push Beijing towards taking greater control over Hong Kong. Already over the past week, 10 days or so, the Beijing government has threatened to rewrite Hong Kong's constitution after the independent judiciary on the territory made some judgments against the Legislative Council of Hong Kong. Do you think that's likely, or is Hong Kong's economic status that important to the mainland that it wouldn't want to mess too much with its relative independence that Hong Kong has?
It's always a very difficult thing to negotiate for the Chinese government, because it's not only its relationship with Hong Kong, but it's its relationship with Taiwan. It would very much like to convince the Taiwanese that a one country, two systems model is possible. So it has always been quite soft, I think, in Hong Kong. And frankly, if you look at the Chinese government's reactions to what's going on in Hong Kong, they've been very measured. And so I would be very surprised if they went in that direction in the short term. Maybe in the longer term, they'll look at the revisions, but revising the Constitution, et cetera. But I think they're going to wait for things to stabilize and calm down before they do so.
Michael, thank you for joining us on TRT World. Michael Plummer from Johns Hopkins University.